This Daf Yomi Yerushalmi Masechet Shvius in the article Oz V'Har edition. We're on Daf Lamed Aleph and Aleph at the Mishnah Halacha Vav, and in the Vilna edition we're at the Mishnah Halacha Vav, which is on Daf Yud Aleph Hamid Beis. And this, as we've been saying for some time, our learning Yerushalmi should be a schus, especially for Yoshua Eretz Yisrael, as Klal Yisrael faces this tremendous battle against the Rishonim Aruim of Gazi and Machshmam Zichron. So we have principle by Shemitah that fruit of Shemitah has to be eaten in the optimal way, can't be eaten in a suboptimal way. So as a result, you have to eat Shemitah when it's ripe, when it's fruit, because it's Kedusha Shvis. So our Mishnah says, "Me'emas ha'ochlin peros ha'yim b'shvis." At what point was the fruit considered ripe enough that you can eat during Shemitah? Hapagin, if you have unripe dates, mishiazrichu. Once they start shining, which is they become red. Ochem pito besod. You're allowed to eat them with your bread in the field. They are still not fully ripe, but they're ripe enough to eat out in the field. Bichalu is when they get larger, and this is you already take it home, but it wasn't fully ripe, still not fully ripe, but ripens at home more, then you can bring it close, so basically bring it into your house. And similar in the other years of the cycle. The chiva maisrus is only when it reaches the size of she'av chilu. The earlier size of she'az richu is considered to be royal achila, but it's not considered to be the oinas maisrus. So, and you're also only eating it out in the field, which is kind of like an informal snack. So therefore, you don't have to take off maisrus at that point. The question is, so then why is it considered to be edible for Peirush Shvius at that time? So the answer evidently is because ochel ben pito. In other words, at that point they are suitable to be used as a spread on bread, as a condiment for the bread. So if you're eating with them bread out in the field, so then it's a normal derech to use as a condiment, but people don't bring it home in that state, and therefore at home it's only meshiav chilu. Haboser, this is unripe grapes. Mishivi mine. Once you can squeeze them, and they can actually, you can elicit moisture from it. Then you can eat it with your, again, as a type of condiment with your bread in the field. Hibish is when it's large enough that you can see the pits inside. I guess the pits are substantial size, and grapes which are transparent. You can see the grapes inside. So basically, then you can bring it home. And again, other years of Shemitah, this is when it be chayav in Maisus. It says more Mao Bichalu. What is this thing called Bichalu by the figs? Chaisa. Chaisa is raw, or Al Tochli Menu No by Pesach. It's mavushal and mavushal. It's not really totally raw, but it's not fully cooked either. So it's like a middle stage. Like it says, "V'gam nafsham b'chalabi." This is this pasuk. The nefesh was repost. It repost by me. So it's evidently it's a lashon where it's eatable, but it doesn't taste so good. So that's the language of being repost at that point. Okay. Where's that pasuk actually? Pasuk in Chayav. Achir shlosh olim b'yarchav v'tikatsen nafshim b'hem gam nafsham b'chalebi. Okay, so that is that, and then the Gemara says, "Ksiv lebhem techav l'chaya asher b'sadecha." So in the Kavanaki, it does have a header. Bichalu konas of beso. Once it reaches that stage, you can in your house. Ksiv lebhem techav l'chaya asher b'artzecha tiyak kol t'vosolecha. For your animal and for your animal and all the your personal animal and all the animals in the field, it should be to eat. we learned to mean that as whenever there is fruit out in the field for your animals, you don't have to take the fruit out of your house, which is beer shmita, because they still have what to eat. Okay. So one part says so we say that a behema normally eats in the house. It's your animal, or in your jurisdiction at least. A chaya is non-domesticated, so it doesn't normally eat in your house, right? It eats out in the field. So the that's one pasuk. It says from the field you can eat the tvua. So the first pasuk was talking about in your house. Right? When you have that, they have what to eat out in the field, eat in your house. So it's eating perish in the house. The second pasuk says sounds like on the field you can eat its produce. So we have two psukim. One of it indicates eating in the field. The other one indicates eating in the house, and that's why the Mishnah has these two zmanim. For one for Shezrichu and the other for Bichalu, right? That's what it says, right? He's saying that there are two tfulos. The achas min habayis, achas min hasadeh. There's a state in which it can be eaten in the house, and even earlier state which is eaten from the sadeh. And that's the interpretation of our Mishnah. Michalina, I learned as reading as a question. It's the same principle. It's bichlu koyes base. K'ksiv and rosh hashanah shabbat yekol zechol. You see me as that close to us. Okay, Bamar state will say achas min habayis v'achas min hasadeh. Okay, then it says Gemara further. Well, you know what? I didn't realize this, but actually there was a slide. The Kavanaki had changed around the girsa here, because the girsa in the Gemara is the Chayeshav said take the Sada Chol Rabbi Chia Bar Ba Amar State was saying Achas Min Habayis and the Ksi Min Hasadeh Tachlus to us. So the Kavanaki put that earlier, but the idea is the same. Rabbi Yosef ben China Boy Pagi Mau Lasos Mem Lugma. Okay, you have the unripe figs. Can you make them malugma? Can you use them for medicinal purposes? You make them for in order to put on your wound, in order, I guess, has some antiseptic or some other type of quality. So can you use it for malugma? Since you can eat with them your bread out in the field, so then we have a principle by Shemitah, one something which you're now allowed to use to make a bandage out of, or make a plaster out of. So that's the question here. So we say that this, since you can eat it out in the field, these pagin with the bread, so therefore you can't use them for mulugma. Or since it's not yet at the point where you take them into your house, so therefore it's not a problem to use it out in the field for the purpose of for medicinal purposes. It's in the house when it's ready to reach the state of being eaten, you can't downgrade to malugma. But maybe when it's a field, then we just got a heter to eat in the field, maybe it's not a downgrade to use it for malugma. The Gemara doesn't resolve the question. Talmud we learned over there in Mishnah in Uktzin. Hapagim v'aboser. Pagim and boser, this unripe figs and grapes. Remember, Matami to Masoichlin. They are Matami to Masoichlin. They're considered to be food. They're not considered to be food until they're actually chayv meisus, which is when they are you can be when bichalu and when hivish. Kotani miyad. The kotani miyad. The kol lace miyad. Again, I missed here's a change that the Kavanaki has. Before it says he has ein machnis lebeso tov ba'isi mutter, as opposed to the Gemara's girsa, which is me'achar shehu machnis tov beso ba'isi mutter. The Kavanaki's shot, I think, is more glot for our purposes. Let's see, the art school have a different gear here. Uh, yeah, here there's gears of the Vilna. Shumacher Shuachlisa Beso Yemoter. He doesn't change the gears. But I think the Pshad Kabnaki is much easier for us to deal with, and we'll go with that. Okay, so back to the Gemara we just started reading. Tami Apagi Basar Kiva Mer at the time to Miss Oakland. Yomer Mem Shiavo Samaisus. Katani Miyad. So the way the Vilna has it, Tani Kan Miyad, and the Koles Miyad, or in the Gemara it says that V'leis Kan Miyad. So the way the Kabbalah explains it, it's a question of Rabbi Akiva. It's a question of Rabbi Akiva that all Pagim have a status of Ochel immediately when they become Pagim. And but in Mishnah later on, Allah Chazayin says, all other fruit of the tree, except for figs, grapes, and olives, their status of when they can eat and drink Shemitah is the same as when they can eat their Chayiv and Maisrus. So it seems they only get the status of Eichel once they get to Onas Maisrus. So maybe our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Akiva, because our Mishnah says they have status of Eichel for Shemitah even when beforehand. So that's when it says, Ka Tani Miyad. Here it says that it's immediately considered to be Ochel. And the Ka in Erchin, when Abba Boisa came to Masaychin, and yet the Mishnah later on says, no, it's only when it gets to the status where it can be brought in the house. The Koles Miyad. So how do we reconcile that? So B'chenin Abishem Lakish said, Mipnei Te'eni Mas Nisa. Says, no, our Mishnah is a special case. And presumably Rabbi Akiva is also a special case, right? It's only a case of figs. So B'shar Kol Pakim Ein Of Time B'tum Masaychin Ad Shebo No Samaisus. Even Rabbi Akiva is more than that. But any other type of packing, it's not. I guess it's not used as a condiment. So therefore, it's not Matam B'tum Masaychin until it reaches Onas Maisrus, which is Mishiach Chilu. Amar B'yeh. So it says Masnisa Amar Kain. The Mishnah says this. Our Mishnah Hapagin. So right now we're dealing with the Mishnah in we're just now doing the Mishnah Uktzin. I say the Mishnah Uktzin, it can be reconciled because Mishnah Uktzin is talking about the unique case of figs. And now we're saying our Mishnah indicates that. Our Mishnah says, Pagim, Mishi Zrichu, Ocho Bahem, Pito Basada. And the Pagim, Mishi Zrichu, which obviously is going specifically on figs, you can you can eat your bread with them in the field, and then they will be matami to masaychlin from that point because of their unique status as a condiment of the bread. That's how I would learn it. The Kavanaki says mishi's richu and not shei's richu. As I both it says mishe v'mayim and not shei v'mayim. It sounds like he's coming to explain that pagim boiser, which are explained in Maseches Uktzin, are these types. I'm not sure how that exactly pans out, but so he says if it would have said shei's richu, it would only be talking about our case. He says Mishi is Richu, that refers to also the case of Uktzin. I don't know why. But I think it's much more simple to say that he's confirming that the Mishnah Uktzin and our Mishnah are in sync. Okay, but Bosa Mishevi Mayim, we said with the unripe grapes, it's once they have water inside, then in other words, their moisture, you can use them to eat your bread with them. That's a header actually, and it's not in the Vilna. It's in the Art Scroll. No, this is the Kabbalah. In the Vilna article says, right, everybody agrees during Shemitah. Ma'al kol modim. Who's a kol modim? So the Gemara says, well, the Gemara implies. I guess it's not explicit here, but the Gemara implies that Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, who says that Mishavel Nos Maisus is when it's a Kabul Tuma, will still hold here that you can eat them during Shemitah, because basically there's a kosev they can eat them during when they're packing already when she has richu, because we learned that because the two psukim we brought that for here Baba said the two psukim, which means the two levels of when it's edible. Okay, so that's so Ma'al kol moedim. So even Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri would be moedim. And Chavrayim Ma'al kol moedim shemitam tumas oichlin b'shvius. But it's interesting. It's like Miko to have Doifin in Shabbos, have Doifin in Sukkah. That only works in the Shabbos of Sukkot, not in the rest of Sukkot. So it's saying the similar thing. You're saying that it only works, but it's only Matami, even though Yochanan ben Nuri is Moida, that Pagim Matami Tumas Oichlin, but that's only during Shemitah. Because during Shemitah they have a heter to eat them earlier. They may have Matami Tumas Oichlin during the heter earlier. But during, evidently, the rest of the time, since we don't have that special limud, which applies to Shemitah, so therefore, it's not going to be Tami Tumas Oichlin until it's fully Mishiav Chilu and you're able to bring it home, which is a very interesting chiluk. Okay, so that is very different than we have in the Gemara itself. It says Ma'al moni Chavrayim she'ena metami tumas oichlin, and here it says Chavrayim hakol moni she'hei metami tumas oichlin b'shvius. That's how the Kabbalah has it, and that works out pretty nicely. It requires us to change the girsa, and my Gemara also changed the girsa to be like the Kabbalah. Yeah. Okay. Says the Gemara further. Tamatina, we learned over there. So that Tamatina also is only in the Kabbalah. It's not in the Gemara or in the Art Scroll. Okay, but it says so. Hakor, which is a fiber which grows on every year on a palm tree, and it gets hard like wood. But when it's soft, you can eat it if you cook it. So this fiber is ke'etz l'chol davar. It's like wood, and presumably that it's not matami tumas oichlin. And you make a bread if you're going to eat it. You make shako, and it's part of a meiser. It's not the ikar pri, it's not really a pri, it's just like eating wood, it's like eating soft wood, so you make shako. But it's part of from Maisa. So the Hakorket's called the Elshu Nilka Bekesef Meiser, you can acquire it with Kesef Meiser, because it's considered to be the way the Kabbalah explains a primi privik dule karka, which is the parameter to buy something with Meiser Sheni money Yerushalayim. So therefore, you can use, even though it's not Chayv Meiser itself, you can use Meiser Sheni money to buy it in Yerushalayim and eat it in Yerushalayim. Kafnoyos are the subgrade, inferior grade dates that they never get fully ripe. They're also like oichel for every purpose. And it sounds like even for the purpose of bracha, you make a very praise because they're pre-elon. Ela shepturos mina meiser. They're part from meiser. So the Kabbalah says because they didn't reach onas meisers. They don't reach onas meisers because onas meisers is gemar malacha, and they don't reach gemar malacha because they're never really great to eat. Darsh Avira ben Pazi base medrash Hakor en kedusha shvi is chololav. This fiber kedusha shvi is not applied to it. there's a change of gears here in the Kavanaki. According to Shir Shkavalov, Rabbi Yonah, Rabbi Yossi makpidin al sho'alayo. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yonah and Rabbi Yossi got upset when they were asked about Kedusha Shvius of this fiber. Amalek said, "Man Amalek came," and they said, "Who told you it doesn't have Kedusha Shvius? If it's edible, it should have Kedusha Shvius." So the Amalek, the Uamarlan, Raman Amin, who Amarlan, and they responded that Rabbi Ben Pazi told it to us that the car doesn't have Kedusha Shvius, like we just saw a moment ago. And Rabbi Yosef said, "Mr. Pliga al Rabbi Yosef Ben Pazi Messiah Lord." Mishnah seems to argue with Ben Pazi and agree with us, and agree with us that it has Kedusha Shvius. The time we learned how Pagim Shel Shvius, if you have unripe figs of Shvius, Ein Shokin Osam. You're not allowed to cook them, because cooking them is downgrading them. Even though you use them as a condiment for bread, use them raw as a condiment. If you cook them, you downgrade them. So therefore, you're not allowed to downgrade fruit during Shemitah. You have to eat in an optimal way. So clearly it has Kedusha Shvius. Otherwise, it would be no problem to cook them. Musafios, these are, musafios are like the language of Musaf. The additional dates, these are dates which only grow at the end of the season, in the summer, and they never get fully ripe. Mutter, you're allowed to cook them. Neshem malachtam, because that's the normal way in which people eat them. Korva kafnios, the fiber and the kafnios, the mutter, you're allowed to cook them. So pagin can't cook. Musfias you're allowed to. Korva the fiber and the what's the kafnios again? It's the bad dates, right? It's the subpart dates, right? Also, that's the derech to cook them. So the cheinanu omrim dates also the shoko. Okay, so how can you say that the fiber of a wood? Why you ever say fiber is mutter to cook? Would you say it's also to cook the fiber of wood? Now, again, this is a change in the Girsi and the Kavanaki. We changed it for Korkav and Rank 8, he changed it to mutter, and I'm assuming that's somewhere. But name then the Gemara says, "Oh, that's proof because the eight also show what you tell you that wood is also to cook. They have to say it's mutter. Obviously, Ella begin the kushvis kalem who can have a memar the sense kushvis the vowels upon and therefore we would have said also. I'd say have to say the kiddush to say that it's mutter. Okay, so that is again a very the significant difference from the Girsa in the Gemara, but again, the Kavanaki's Girsa, which is always generally based on Rosh Hashanah, as we know, is much more glad. Okay, so the Gemara then brings down so again, I should read it. Beginning because she's also should have said it's also that for Akamashal is Mutter. The Gemara says by Boser, Mishevi Mai Milati in the field. What do you mean? Why would you actually eat in the field? It's bad for the teeth. Like Oshim it's a pasuk in Yirmiyah. I forget what the Lashon pasuk is, but it's. Doesn't bring it down here. Does it? No. So, Rabbi Avun, Shkein Derech HaKehos, Ochlinosam. So, even though it's Makir the Shinayim, the Kehos, the Rashi says pregnant women. Not be confused, right? The two actually, the word Kehos using two different ways here. I guess Kem means to blunt, and maybe pregnant women are considered Something to do with the fact that they're pregnant makes it considered blunt. But here the Rashi explains and Kabbalah explains that they have their teeth are on edge and they want to eat very strange things. So, but therefore they eat these kehos. They eat these the boser. Sorry, they eat the boser. It's like a pregnant woman has a desire for pickles, for something sour. So they eat the boser, right? And so therefore, that's the case. So they are considered to be edible, at least for the pregnant women at that stage. And I guess also maybe the pregnant women, or maybe since pregnant women eat it's derech, so therefore it's considered to be that it's a condiment, sufficient condiment even to eat it in the field together with your bread. Because obviously in our Mishnah we said that it's used to eat bread. But so the article has a different shot. He says that this is going, the Maharal Fulda brings down, is chaos means people who are tired. They're blunted. They're tired, and they eat them when they're traveling together with their food out with the bread out in the field. So it makes them probably in that case is much more glad shot than Kavanaki it seems, because since they eat them out in the field. Since they're desperate to eat and they want a condiment for their bread, they'll eat these unripe grapes together with their bread, and therefore it's considered to be a sufficient akila for shmita, where there's a special replay for the way you eat it out in the field. And that brings us to halacha zayin on lamed beis, pretty far down, and of course we'll stop here for today.